Hi, I'm Mark Mazzaferro, and it's time for another episode of The Works. And with us, as always, on The Works is Public Works Director Shawn Cunningham. Shawn, how are you?
I'm good. Happy New Year, Mark.
Happy New Year to you, too. How's everything? How was your New Year, by the way?
It was good. It was uneventful. We rung it in well.
Good.
How about you?
I went out for dinner with a couple of friends, my wife and I, and another couple, and we were in by 7, and I watched the ball drop while she was out on the sofa.
You saw the New York New Year.
I did.
All right.
Yes. It looked cold and wet, but
it did. Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I'm glad I live on the West Coast and not back there.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, I'm glad the New Year started off well for you.
So far, yeah.
And that's part of why we're here today. We're going to talk about not only what's ahead in Public Works in 2019, but some of your major accomplishments in 2018. So give us a rundown. What are your top projects from last year that you take particular pride in?
Well, we're proud of all of them, Mark, of course.
Yeah, you guys filled that pothole, I bet
Hey,
you.
we count them all. We count everything.
Everything counts, okay.
Actually, it's funny you bring up the pothole. We'll talk a little bit about what we're doing with the streets, which I think is really some good stuff. This last year, I mean, we've been incredibly busy, as you know, and. So I'll go through some of them. I just wanted to kind of explain a little bit what busy means.
Sure.
In my 30 years here, I don't think I've seen a CIP budget quite as aggressive as what we're working on now.
And CIP is?
Sorry, the Capital Improvement Program. So that's what essentially funds through developer impact fees, general fund, other sources, grants. That's what funds all of the capital improvements that Tracy Rideout and his group are doing. So we had $113 million of active CIP projects last year.
Wow.
About 80 million of those were in design, and then the rest are in construction. So it's trying to manage that budget. We're cranking out a lot of work and seeing a lot of good benefits, I think. But I'll start with probably the one that I'm most proud of last year was the reconstruction of Gibson Canyon in East Monta Vista. That was East Monta Vista has been in falling apart. That's the segment I'm talking about from Airport Road all the way up to Vacaville Parkway. A lot of our industrial, commercial businesses are along there, and they've been letting us know for many years how their truck drivers and goods are being rattled and beat up on that road. So that turned out really well. Tim and Tracy came in with a proposal to use it's new to us, it's not necessarily new, and I think you and Tracy talked about it on a previous episode, but right. Cold in-place recycling, where we actually ground up the existing road, made use of that, and placed it back down, and ended up with a brand new roadway on Monta Vista, and then also on Gibson Canyon from basically Ulatis Creek up to Fruitvale. So.
Yeah, I used the East Monta Vista Road a lot before, and now certainly after. And once they got done, man, that was smooth. I mean, we're talking really nice. But when they put on the striping and did the reflectors, it was like, wow, this thing is it was like Christmas, It was like crazy how nice it turned out.
Yeah, they did a really nice job.
Yeah.
And it's something to last. I mean, they went and ground it down 6 inches, reactivated the asphalt, put it back down. So it's not just an overlay that eventually the broken road's going to come back through. It's basically a new roadway. So.
And I got a little nervous because they did the roadway, and then they went back and they were like cutting holes or doing something, and then I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? It's fine, just leave it the way it is. And then when they got done, you couldn't tell. It was back to normal.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
Who knew?
Good job,
yeah,
good
right,
hire.
Right. Well, I'll just tell you, so what they do, part of the process, so when you have the street, there's manholes and there's water valves and all these things in the middle of the street, which make it hard to pave. So they come in, and the first thing they do is they take all of that, the manholes, the valves, and they lower them. Basically, they jackhammer the top off of them, and they lower them so that they can grind and pave right back over them. Then they have to go back, find them, and then bring them back up to ground. Hopefully
we put that valve.
If we can find 80% of it,
we're in good
call that
shape.
successful.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Brian McLean finds the other 20%, and then we're good. So,
Oh boy.
so that
Stop name dropping. Okay, but go on.
it's my job.
I know.
My
Tracy,
job,
right out, Brian
right,
McLean. Okay, who's next?
I'll get you in.
Yeah.
I'll get you in.
No.
Jefferson Parkway we talked about, had the ribbon cutting. You emceed that.
That was
Did
a lot of fun.
Great job, Mark.
Thank you
There
very
go.
much,
There's your
Sean.
name.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So that was a huge project for us, and something we're working on for next year. I'll just a jump forward is the Jefferson Parkway. It'll be the final Vacaville phase, which will take it from Elmira Road all the way up to Sequoia Leisure Town area.
And it'll be widened or just
Widened, yeah. So it'll be a continuation of what you see out there now, the 4-lane divided. It'll be realigned in some areas. In some areas, it'll be on the same alignment.
okay.
That'll complete the 4 lanes all the way up, essentially to I-80.
Another project that turned out really nice. They did a really nice job out there too. I mean, with the landscaping and the other things that were put in, it's. I mean, okay, let's face it. I don't want to get carried away. It's a 4-lane roadway, but it's got some nice touches.
It turned out good. It was Daryl Halls with not to name drop, but Daryl Halls with STA. He made it clear to me when they helped us get the money for that. As you know, it was a $40 million project. We couldn't have done it without that grant. He made it. He said, Sean, you need to stop looking at this as a roadway with a bike lane next to it, and think of it more as a bike lane with a roadway next to it. So he helped paint the picture for me of what he wanted it to look like. So I think it turned out pretty good.
Was Jim Sperring involved?
Yeah, well, he's on Jim Sperring's on the board.
Yeah, I know. I'm name dropping.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that was very good.
Thanks. All right.
The Diff 54 sewer, that's in construction now. What is that? Doesn't sound exciting.
I know that was a little government ease you snuck in there. Diff 54.
Yeah.
Huh?
So it's a sewer, a main sewer trunk line that runs in the southeast portion of the city. It picks up all of the Southtown, east of Leisure Town development, and it takes it directly into the plant in Elmira. And so basically, with all of that development down there, we reached capacity. So they're literally with Brighton Landing could not finish building. Roberts Ranch could not begin to build until we increased that capacity. So that was a critical project that got designed over the last couple of years, and it just went into construction here about 2 months ago. And so that's underway right now. What else? Dobbin Street parking lot.
It's a biggie.
That turned out good.
That's a beauty. That's another one that was basically just kind of an empty lot that got converted into a very usable piece of land that's good for our friends downtown and folks using the McBride Center and all those businesses.
Yeah, so they're not all exciting projects, but they're all good, right?
I know. I'm sitting here as we're talking about this, and I'm thinking, God, we probably sound like a couple of nerds. Oh, that was a really great parking lot we built, but it's important stuff.
Well, hopefully we're delivering something to the citizens, right? And like you say, the downtown merchants should be. What do they want?
They
More
want parking. Here's 100 spots, right?
That's right.
But like the sewer thing, if that sewer line doesn't get built, then there's a whole lot of development that doesn't happen, and that's revenue for the city and accommodation for those new residents, and I mean, there's a lot of things that all work together to help the city thrive and grow.
Right. And I threw that out there as well, and we built this sewer. I lost some sleep over that sewer because you're right. We've made commit. Not only would we not be able to accommodate the growth, we've made commitments. We've made certain commitments to developers that they're going to come in and they're going to have their entitlements to build their 500 homes or whatever.
Right.
And the sewer wasn't as smooth as, it was a difficult project to design. We ran into some problems with right-of-way. We ran into some problems with the railroad, crossing the railroad. So I'm really happy, very happy.
Kind of glad
that
it's
in construction
excellent.
now.
Good.
And sewer's not like a lot of other things. You either have room in the pipe or I won't
you
paint
don't.
that picture for you, right?
Thanks. Yeah, I think we get it.
I just wanted to throw in some maintenance. So we have maintenance is the other side of the shop, and so they had a busy year also. Three Oaks has an old, antiquated electrical system that's serving it. It's kind of unusual. There's a transformer there that the city actually owns and maintains. Normally that would be owned and maintained by PG&E. And then that comes into a main switchgear. We were having problems out there where Three Oaks continued to lose power. And we couldn't figure out why. So the maintenance folks, I hate to say Rob Pippin and Brian McLean, they put together a team.
Two more names.
And we had to shut down. We had power shut down out there for a day from the main, from the PG&E main. We had our couple contractors came in, and the stuff they were working on, I mean, it looked like something out of a Mad Max movie. It's just this old big giant switches and scary stuff. You know, you want to check 3 times to make sure the power is dead before you touch it. But anyway, they rehabbed all of it, and in the course of one day, put it back together, and it's been we've been about 3 or 4 months with it running fine.
So when there's no power to Three Oaks, does that impact the pool too?
Yeah, it was the
so
pool.
It's that whole area over there.
Right. It was a big deal. I mean, when they had swimming's going on, and all of a sudden the power is out, so the pumps aren't working, so everybody's got to be out of the pool, and it's a big deal. But that's some of the things that we do that people don't know about. The Youngsdale, we had a water line break. I want to say, I guess it was around July or August. 12-inch water line on Youngsdale, major break. We were out there. It was made more difficult. Right where it broke, of course, is right where it was crossing a 54-inch storm drain. And so the water line had this saddle under the storm drain, so it was hard to get it. So it became this giant excavation in the middle of the street.
Nice.
But the field utilities crews were out there for 21 hours straight to get it back in service. So that was, it's just, I brag about that one because that's just an unbelievable commitment.
Who's in charge of the field utilities crew?
Manuel Vasquez.
Manny Vasquez. Okay,
Yeah,
just another name.
Yeah, there you go.
And who's a longtime city employee, Manny. I know him well.
Been here a long time. So they did a great job, and that was we only had 2 houses out of out of water.
One thing I noticed too. I mean, these things happen. Main breaks, and we have to shut water off to neighborhoods, and most folks are. They're okay with it. They get it, right? I mean,
most.
you hear many, there's always somebody.
Most do, you're right.
Well, what are you going to do, right? But for the most part, I'll put it on our social media or put an announcement out, and okay, cool, thanks for letting us know. And that's the end of it, which is nice. It's nice to be able to work together with folks. Yeah, there's always somebody who's not happy, but what are you going to do? For the most part, folks get it.
Right. For the most part, they do. Yeah. I'll tell you a story. So,
yeah, as you say, Sean's not convinced.
Okay, no, you're right. The vast majority, and who do you hear from? You hear the people that are happy. You rarely hear from.
Right.
So the majority of people are happy. So one of the other projects our maintenance crews did this year is they resurfaced sports courts at 4 different parks. The basketball courts, the tennis courts. And I don't know if you've seen any of them, but they turned out beautiful.
I heard they did a great job with the basketball and tennis courts over here, right at Three Oaks.
At Three Oaks, yeah. It's funny that we almost like we rehearsed this. So at Three Oaks, the tennis courts, beautiful. I mean, Dave sent me some pictures of them. I said, man, that's awesome. They look brand new. And myself personally, I haven't heard any. Hey, that looks great, but I know people like it. But what I did hear is, on the tree this time of year, I don't know what kind of tree it is. Dave Jacobson could tell me, but they
Who is that? Dave Jacobson.
Yeah, Jacobson, right. They get those balls on the trees.
Oh,
spiked
that
little
funny,
balls.
yeah, right.
Well, there's a tree out there, and it's dropping these balls all over the tennis court.
And people are not happy.
I heard about.
Oh, wow.
We got to fix that.
Well,
it's thanks for
for
refinishing the court. And by the way,
you're ready to run to the baseline and use your best ground stroke, and you trip over one of those things, and that's a problem, Sean.
Right? That could cost you a beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Or lunch or
whatever is on the line.
So,
good point.
Anyway. Base failure repair and sidewalks, the streets crews have been doing a great job, but the sidewalks, 4,000 square feet of sidewalk they did last year replaced.
Yeah,
So, and you've probably seen where there's been barricades all over town. That was something we came up with. We had a great backlog. We hired a couple contractors and came in and turned them loose and said, just pour concrete.
Now, and you mentioned backlog, and I want to ask you this: is this whole, you're busy, you got a lot going on. Is it a function of just previously not having the funding and now we're playing catch up, or is it just that we now have the funding, so let's try and get as much as we can done?
Yes, it's both. I mean, we've been very lucky and fortunate that just as recently as the last council meeting, or 2 council meetings back, we've been able to bolster our maintenance staffing. And so that's part of it, but also with Measure M. Measure M is paying huge dividends back to the taxpayers, and that's one of the ways it's doing it. Was within the street. When I say streets, it's streets, sidewalk, curb, gutter. Right. So what we were able to do on that, we still didn't have enough staffing to make up the backlog. We never would, realistically. So we try to keep most of our work in-house, but on that one we contracted it out.
Right.
And these guys came in and they just, for weeks on end, they just jackhammered concrete and poured concrete, and we're going to do it again next year and probably eliminate the backlog. So.
Well, I know at one point there were crews on both sides of Monta Vista working, replacing. I went out there and took some pictures. It was very cool. They were working hard.
They're
they
good.
were going full blast. Yeah,
right.
So
they're good. It takes what you appreciate is that, and that's what we talk about when our numbers are down, and you get we have to deal with people calling in sick, people being on vacation, what have you. And when you see how many people it takes when you're pouring concrete, it's not just a couple guys to do it. It's a large crew, and so that's why when it seems like our numbers are big, but depending what we get into, they have to be.
Right.
So
Right.
So anyway, that's some of the things we accomplished. That's probably 50%.
And I was going to say, it's just on top of all your regular daily duties and responsibilities. So it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So what are some of the bigger things that we can look forward to in 2019, Shawn?
Let's see.
What do you got there?
So I already mentioned one of them, Jefferson.
Yes.
That's another about $30 million to get it the rest of the way, and that's STA's helped us fund that. That's in place, and we're working on the design currently for that. The Vacaville 505 interchange, where that's due to be upsized. A lot of the development, Don Burris is trying to attract people in that area up along the Eubanks and Crocker Drive, and
Don Burris, another name. Good. You're good at this.
That's from your office.
Yeah, I know.
See?
I know Don. I know Don well.
Yeah,
He's 2 offices down.
I spread it around. So, he's trying to attract development in that area, commercial, industrial, and so that interchange is a gateway. We're actually doing 2 projects. We're going to do immediately, when I say immediately, this year, we're going to do an interim project that will increase the capacity at the Vacaville and Crocker, right there. What is it? Monta Vista, Crocker, Vacaville. So we're going to increase the capacity at that intersection with the left turn pockets and all that, which is going to help a lot. And then about 2022, we'll be doing a major reconstruction of that intersection.
So that whole overpass is going to get widened? Or?
No, the overpass will stay the same. What we're going to use roundabouts. We're not going roundabout crazy. Just want to let everybody know
Some
that.
might disagree.
But
I'm not
but
one
at that interchange, by using roundabouts, we can keep the bridge the same width. We can save the cost of widening it because we don't need all the left turn pockets, right turn pockets with the roundabout. Also, on the west side of the bridge, you've got the southbound on and off ramp, and then a couple hundred feet away, you've got the Crocker, Monta Vista, Vacaville intersection. So when you try to signalize both of those and they're that close, it doesn't work very well.
Right.
So that's why we're we haven't gotten Caltrans approval yet for the roundabouts, but that's what we're proposing.
Yeah,
So,
do you think they'll go for it?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, they use these a lot, and I've seen, huge roundabouts depending on the configuration of the street. In our neighborhood, we have brought this up before. We have them, and they're smaller. It's in a residential area. But when you go to bigger, but larger commercial areas, whatever you want to call it, they can be huge, right? And it does calm the traffic, whether people like it or not. It just takes practice and getting used to, timing it, and not you don't want to go too fast. By the same time, you don't want to go too slow either.
Right.
But it's a change from how people are used to
It's
driving.
a change.
Where here's an intersection, I know I stop. Now I'm not stopping, I'm yielding. It's again, well, we should do a video on how to drive through a roundabout.
Or maybe how not to. That might be more fun.
Maybe we can have our video guy Wayne Covington take care of that.
Yeah.
I'm
Do you
dropping
know him?
names
Do you
now.
know him?
I know a guy. Yeah, he's all right. So anyway, what else we got on the books?
Again, we're looking for a major overlay this year. So this is Measure M, and I dare say the SB1 gas tax, which is still there, and I'm not going to get into whether I like it or don't. But what it's doing for Vacaville, I've mentioned it in council meetings before, is between Measure M and what council is allocated and the SB1, Vacaville's looking at between $3 and $4 million a year of sustained revenue that we can count on, which is huge, we plan to spend it. And so we've got a huge overlay project that we're putting together that will be going out here very soon. I'm not going to list all the streets, but a couple of the big ones, California Drive. I made a commitment that we would resurface that a couple years ago, and we're going to do it this year. Mason Street, Dobbins, and then several other more collector residential streets.
Sure.
So the one thing I'll bring up, it's not our project, but we're involved, and it'd be good for Vacaville to know about it. But it's the I-80 Express Lanes project. That's the Solano Transportation Authority is actually sponsoring that project. Right now they're trying to find funding for it. But essentially what it's going to do is it's going to extend the express lanes from Fairfield up through Vacaville to I think it'll be end between I-505 interchange and Leisuretowne Road. So that could very possibly begin next year. It will not happen this year.
So are they talking about taking existing lanes and dedicating one as an express lane,
No.
or adding a lane and then?
They will add one eastbound lane and one westbound lane in the median.
Oh, okay.
And then so the Oleanders are going to go.
Nobody's going to miss those.
I don't know. I like the Oleanders.
Okay, well, you can have my share.
I'm in the minority on that. So there will be some bridge widening in the middle to close the gap between the eastbound and westbound lanes, removal of the median.
Do you think that will alleviate at all that everyday traffic jam between Fairfield and Vacaville, where it makes that turn where Air Base Parkway is, and it goes from 8 lanes to 4 lanes? Do you think that'll have any impact on it at all? Or?
Well, I hope so.
Okay.
When I heard that this project was happening, my concern was that we're going to move that back up into Vacaville, and unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast. I mean, and it's the express lanes, I guess, are good for the region. We have to do something to try to mitigate the traffic on I-80. We worked very hard with the STA's consultant to really try to figure out where is they actually modeled it to find out where is the best place to drop the lane. We said, should we drop the lane between Allison and 505, where we've got an extra lane there, the auxiliary lane, easy for me to say, the auxiliary lane between Allison and 505, is that better? Or do we go past 505? And what we found out was taking it past 505, because a significant amount of traffic gets off on
Diverts
505.
there, right.
So they're moving over to get off anyway. That might ease the the dilemma that occurs with the lane drop on the express lane. So that's, we did look at it, a benefit westbound on Sunday. So on Sunday, the express lane's not operating, right?
Right.
So what happens on Sunday is you get right to 505 and we drop to 3 lanes, and all of a sudden there's a backup. Well, now that we won't drop to 3 lanes, there will continue to be, because that's where the express lane will start. So we'll be able to maintain that 4 lanes and hopefully alleviate some of that Sunday backup.
But, we have that same problem, Caltrans, when you're heading toward Dixon, where you get past Leisure Town and it goes from 4 lanes to 3 lanes.
Right.
And it's just a matter of people merging, but that backs up. That slows down and backs up. And
Right.
I don't know if there's anything you can do to fix that other than add a lane, but and drive more carefully, I guess, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the lane drops they destroy traffic. Yeah. I've often thought, when you take that Friday trip up to Vacaville, especially on I-80, and it seems like going up through Sacramento and Roseville, you go, 5 lanes, 4 lanes, 4 lanes, 3 lanes, 5, and I said, if you just coned 3 lanes from Davis all the way through Roseville and you never widened it, I bet you'd move
That would
more
solve a lot of
traffic.
problems. Yeah.
You take
yeah.
out all those drops. But anyway, so that's a project that's going to happen. Another benefit to Vacaville is we were able to convince STA to add, as part of that project, to add its major structural improvements under the bridge there at Ulatis Creek, so that our bike path that we want ultimately to go from where the Corp Yard and Allison along the creek, now we can cross the freeway over to the Ivywood subdivision. So
Nice, that'll be
that's
nice.
actually incorporated into the project.
Good.
I don't know. That's about Keating parking lot. That comes up a lot. People say, when are we going to fix that?
Yeah,
Well,
that's a biggie. We're highlighting that in a future production we're
Okay.
working on, because we hear that a lot.
a lot.
That parking lot
needs
at
it.
Keating. Yeah, it is. Well, even the sign is old. Can we fix that sign? I mean, is there some historical value to Keating Parks, that old wooden, all our other parks have these nice little moundy, hilly things, right? Keating Park's got this, come on, let's step it up a
I
little
don't know.
bit.
Christmas is over, Mark.
I know, I'm
You
just
missed
silly
it.
me. Next year, I'll sit on Santa's
You
lap
should
and
try
ask
it
for
next year.
Keating Park sign. Wow.
That's something we should think about. That maybe
Yeah.
with the parking lot,
yeah,
because
there you go.
Keating, and that's Measure M, and that was
Right.
something the council specifically they wanted to see that parking lot rehabbed. So yeah, maybe we should make that part of it.
Okay, all
We
right.
also maintenance crews did do, I won't say names, but just maintenance crews they rehabbed Field A at Keating Park this year. Put in
Right.
a whole new infield and the subterranean irrigation system. And
Well, there was a couple fields that needed it too.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm a ball player anymore, but I went out there and it's like, wow, this is not safe, almost borderline dangerous. But
well, I mean,
not the way I play it is. Come on, you never seen me play. But no, in the pool, there's a whole lot of stuff that happened last year, and the momentum's carrying into 2019.
Carrying this year, yeah, we're gonna get you new carpet. New
At City
carpet in
Hall,
your office?
really?
Yeah, go
Is
figure.
it the deep pile shag, or is it?
Connie's
do we
picking
get
it
the-
out.
oh, Connie.
Connie's picking it out. So
Connie Donovan.
I've learned. Yeah, Connie Donovan, right? Right by Sheila there. Yeah. So
Just 483 or more employees to go at this rate. Anyway,
we should change this show. We can make this more, less factual and it's more
just
fun.
make stuff up. Yeah.
So we're gonna be that's been long awaited. I mean, I think Jeremy finally saw too much duct tape on the floor, and he said, "Now's the time we're going to do the carpet." So.
It is, boy, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but it's a little embarrassing to come into City Hall and it's threadbare. There are spots where you can see the seams and they're separating. I'm like, wow, can we do something about this, Sean?
It was time.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Come on.
I look at it as we're frugal.
Yeah,
We're
that.
trying to stretch your dollar.
Frugal, can kind of lapse into, nothing I could say on television.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm cheap. But, I mean, we do have to maintain a certain.
You're right. Well, we're spending money on City Hall. There's the carpets. There's going to be a
yeah.
remodel actually in your area there.
Our
make
office
it,
area,
Make
yeah.
it a little more functional. I think a
Safer.
remodel down in community development with their lobby. I think they want to. I think the idea there is to go kind of more the Apple model.
Right.
Make it a little less sterile.
Yeah, and we hear it a
so-
lot from folks that it just to be more customer friendly
Right,
and more
right.
more accessible.
Yeah.
You know, you look at all the new city halls that are built, and they're completely different from how our city hall looks. And that not to say we need a new city hall, but we definitely need to look at how we do business.
It's got to be. We got to keep up with what's modern. The Station 73. We got to keep it. We're doing a remodel out there. Fire department's hiring a couple more. I think they're going to put the ambulance back in service at Station 73.
Right.
So that means they're going to go from 3 to 5. And there's this little state law that says once you go exceed 3 in the firehouse, you have to have gender privacy. So we're going to be doing some remodel there to make sure we're street legal.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, good deal. Last year was great. Next year looks just as good, if not better.
I think so. It's luckily the money is still good. The economy's good. The money's good. All we got to do is try and get it spent. So,
Well, if you need any help spending money, let me know. I know somebody.
My trouble is getting the right project in the right order.
Right.
And keeping everyone happy. I haven't figured out how to do that yet.
But even that is, weather is going to impact some of these things too. This is, and then boom, it rains or it snows or who knows what, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we haven't had a lot of snow lately. Okay,
You never know.
But you never know. Well, listen, thanks, Shawn, for giving us a recap as well as a look ahead. And thank you all for watching this episode of The Works. We'll see you next time.